In the 1990s, the collapse of Yugoslavia descended into an intimate brutality. Streets and neighborhoods were torn apart by sudden neighbor-against-neighbor violence. The people shooting at each other, Orthodox Christians and Slavic Muslims, had lived side by side in these communities, sharing coffee and marriages for centuries before the eruption. The trigger for this specific carnage was a single ancient word: Kosovo. A battle fought in the year 1389 did not directly cause sniper fire in 1992. The violence was born from the centuries-long manipulation of what that battle meant. This is the mechanics of memory politics. It is a calculated process where a state dictates exactly what its people must remember and what they must forget in order to control the future. The raw historical reality of 1389 is well documented. On a Balkan field, a massive, bloody clash erupted between the Serbian forces of Prince Lazar and the Ottoman army of Sultan Murad. The fighting resulted in staggering casualties on both sides. By the time the dust settled, both Prince Lazar and Sultan Murad were dead on the battlefield. Militarily, the outcome was inconclusive. The immediate consequence, however, was demographic. The battle depleted Serbian manpower, stripping them of the capacity to field future armies and guaranteeing eventual Ottoman rule. While a devastating tragedy for the region, it was ultimately a standard medieval military defeat. It would have stayed tucked away in the history books if later generations had not discovered its utility. 4.5 centuries later, in 1847, the region was searching for a cohesive national identity to rally around. A Montenegrin bishop and poet named Petar Petrović-Njegoš provided one by publishing an epic poem called The Mountain Wreath. Njegoš rewrote the narrative, blaming the 1389 defeat on a moral failure, internal disunity. To fix this, the poem introduced a lethal invention. It labeled Slavic Muslims as race betrayers who polluted the bloodline, insisting they must be exterminated to restore the nation's purity. A piece of literature transformed a distant military defeat into a holy, patriotic mandate to murder your neighbors. By 1889, the ruling Obrenović dynasty was failing. Plagued by scandals and deep public unpopularity, the monarchy was desperate to survive an existential political crisis. They found their lifeline in the 500th anniversary of the Battle of Kosovo. The state hijacked the commemoration, weaving the dynasty's survival together with the revered legacy of Prince Lazar. This required the engineering of public history. The government invented a brand new national holiday called Vidovdan and partnered with the Orthodox Church to give their political ceremonies a sacred weight. They anchored this memory physically, pouring state funds into public monuments. The myth was pulled out of poetry and permanently cemented into the physical geography of the nation. The Obrenović dynasty manufactured a tool for state building. Weaponizing the memory of Kosovo, they projected a unified, defiant Serbia to the rest of Europe. Fast forward exactly 1 century to 1989. That architecture of martyrdom, purity, and betrayal sat at the center of the societal psyche. At the massive 600th anniversary gathering, politician Slobodan Milošević stepped to the podium. He actively deployed the same 1889 strategy, stirring up fears of disunity and internal traitors to mobilize a violent nationalist base. That engineered political rhetoric fed directly into the brutal reality of the 1990s ethnic cleansing, destroying millions of lives and completing the myth's life cycle. The terrifying lesson of Kosovo is that history is rarely a neutral reflection of the past. When memory is engineered into a political weapon, its blast radius echoes for centuries.